The Sony A7V has become more than just a camera announcement. It has become a story of waiting, of rumor after rumor, of expectation building month after month. For photographers and videographers who have followed the journey, it feels like the A7V has been just around the corner for nearly a year. Each season came with new whispers. First January, then spring, then summer. Each time, leaks promised it would arrive soon. But the wait stretched on. Now, finally, it is real. The Sony A7V is coming. But the question remains, will it be the breakthrough camera people have been waiting for, or will it be another case of Sony playing it too safe? To understand the anticipation, we need to look at where this camera fits in the market. The Sony A7 line has always been about balance. Not the most extreme in stills, not the most extreme in video, but the hybrid choice. It is the series designed for creators who need a camera that can handle everything. That has been Sony's strength. They built a system that could serve both photographers and filmmakers. The A7 series became the backbone of Sony's mirrorless rise. The A7 IV carried that legacy forward. With its 33-megapixel backside illuminated sensor, it struck a middle ground between resolution and speed. It could shoot bursts at up to 10 frames per second. It could record 4K video, oversampled from a sensor, though only up to 30 frames per second without a crop. For higher frame rates, a heavy Super 35 crop was applied. At the time, these specs impressed. The A7 IV was praised for its versatility, for offering a bit of everything at a price that felt accessible compared to the A9 or the A1. But technology moves quickly. Canon pushed harder with the EOS R6 Mark II, delivering faster burst rates and stronger video options. Nikon raised the bar with the Z6 Mark III, introducing a partially stacked sensor that made readout faster, autofocus more responsive, and rolling shutter less of a problem. In only a short time, the A7 IV started to feel like it was behind the curve. This is the context in which the A7V arrives. Sony is no longer automatically assumed to be the leader. They are no longer the brand that sets the pace while others play catch-up. In fact, some would say they have fallen to last place in this segment. That puts pressure on the A7V to deliver more than just an incremental update. It must prove that Sony still knows how to lead. So what exactly do people expect from the A7V? Let's break it down. First, the sensor. Resolution may stay at 33 megapixels, and that is fine. Few are asking for more resolution. What creators want is speed. A sensor with faster readout can unlock higher burst rates. Sony has been stuck at 10 frames per second for too long. Compare that to Canon's 40 frames per second in RAW or Nikon's 120 frames per second in JPEG, and you see the gap. For action photographers, for sport shooters, for wildlife enthusiasts, this difference is massive. 10 frames per second can miss key moments. 40 frames per second almost guarantees you capture the shot. If Sony wants to compete, they must raise their speed. A faster sensor also impacts video. The heavy crop at 4K 60 on the A7 IV came from limitations in readout. If the A7V can process faster, it can offer oversampled full-frame 4K at 60 frames per second, not just 30. That alone would be a game-changer for many filmmakers. Rolling shutter, that unpleasant wobble effect when panning quickly, could also be reduced. With faster readout, lines of data are captured quicker, minimizing distortion. For videographers, that detail matters as much as resolution or frame rate. Then there's the matter of memory cards. Sony has relied on CF Express Type A cards. They are compact, but they are also slower and less widely adopted than CF Express Type B. Nikon and Canon have embraced Type B, giving their cameras faster buffer clearing and sustained performance. Sony could stick with Type A and hope that new V4 cards provide enough of a boost, but many believe a move to Type B is necessary. Card speed might sound boring, but when you're shooting bursts or recording high bitrate video, it can be the difference between smooth shooting and constant waiting. The electronic viewfinder is another area where the A7V must step up. The A7 IV had a 3.69 million EVF. It was serviceable, but not competitive. Nikon's Z6 Mark III raised the bar with a 5.76 million display. Sony is expected to match that with the A7V. It's unlikely they'll go higher, since 9.44 million dots remain reserved for flagship models like the A1. But even at 5.76, the experience of framing and focusing becomes sharper and more immersive. For hybrid shooters, that matters. Video shooters are also hoping for open-gate recording. That means capturing the full height and width of the sensor, not just the 16:9 area. Open gate is useful for reframing in post, for anamorphic shooting, and for creative flexibility. Canon and Panasonic have embraced it. If Sony ignores it, they risk looking out of touch with modern filmmaking trends. Beyond the specs, there is the larger story of Sony's strategy. Once, Sony was known for pushing boundaries. They innovated with sensors, autofocus, and video features. They built a reputation as the brand that gave creators what they wanted. But lately, that reputation has slipped. Sony has developed a habit of protecting its higher-end models by holding back features on mid-range ones. It's a strategy that assumes customers will upgrade to more expensive bodies. But in today's competitive market, that assumption is dangerous. Nikon and Canon are offering advanced features at lower price points, blurring the old lines between entry, mid, and pro tiers. If Sony keeps holding back, they may find customers leaving altogether. The delay of the A75 has only added to this concern. Why did it take so long? Was Sony struggling with production? Were they waiting for the right moment to counter competitors? Or were they unsure of what features to include? Each month of silence allowed speculation to grow. And with speculation comes higher expectations. After nearly a year of waiting, the A75 cannot simply be the A74 with a few tweaks. It must feel like a leap forward. Consider the Nikon Z6 Mark III again. For around $2,200, it offers oversampled 6K video, internal RAW options, and a 5.76 million EVF. That is a mid-range price for features that once belonged to high-end models. Canon's A6 Mark III is expected to bring similar performance. Both companies are aggressive, willing to cannibalize higher models to win the mid-range. Sony, by contrast, has seemed cautious, even hesitant. That is why the A75 matters so much. It is not just about specs. It is about proving that Sony can still compete in a market where rivals are moving faster. Price will play a decisive role too. If the A75 launches significantly higher than Nikon or Canon alternatives without offering clear advantages, many customers may walk away. But if Sony can match or undercut while delivering true performance gains, they could reclaim momentum. Black Friday timing makes this even more critical. Buyers will be making decisions in late October and November. If Sony nails the launch, they could dominate holiday sales. If they stumble, Nikon and Canon will gladly take those customers. The lens ecosystem is another factor. Sony's E-mount remains one of the strongest reasons to choose their system. With more native and third-party lenses available than Canon or Nikon, the ecosystem is rich. That gives Sony an advantage, but only if the bodies remain competitive. People don't invest in lenses for fun. They invest when they feel confident that the system will serve them for years. If the A75 fails to impress, some may rethink that confidence, even with E-mount's advantages. For creators, this decision isn't small. Cameras are tools, but they are also investments. A filmmaker may buy one body today, but the lenses, accessories, and workflow built around it can last for years. Switching systems is costly and disruptive. That is why announcements like the A75 are so important. They don't just sell one camera, they determine whether a system keeps its users or loses them. The long wait has amplified all of this. Each rumor, each leak, each delay has built pressure. People aren't just curious anymore, they're impatient. They want answers. They want clarity. And they want proof that Sony hasn't fallen behind. If the A75 delivers, the wait will be forgiven. If it disappoints, the frustration will be doubled. In many ways, the A75 has become a test of trust. Sony built its reputation by being bold. Can they still live up to that reputation? Or has the strategy shifted to playing it safe, protecting higher-end models, and recycling parts? The market will judge quickly. Within weeks of its launch, comparisons to the Z6 Mark III and the R6 Mark III will flood the internet. Reviews, SID, eBay side tests, and real-world footage will decide the verdict. And that verdict will echo beyond the A75 itself. If Sony proves they can still lead, confidence in the brand will grow. If they falter, doubts will spread across the A7 line, the A9 line, even the flagship A1. Creators will wonder if Sony still has the vision to innovate. So as we look to late October, the A75 stands at a crossroads. It is more than just another camera. It is a statement about Sony's future. After nearly a year of delays, the time for rumors is over. The time for proof has arrived. For photographers and filmmakers watching closely, the answer will shape not just buying decisions but entire workflows. Many invest in lenses and accessories that lock them into one system for years. Choosing a Sony body today means committing to Sony glass for the future. If the A75 disappoints, some may finally consider switching platforms. That is why the pressure is so high. And timing makes the stakes even higher. The A75 announcement is expected in late October. Canon's A6 Mark III is likely to follow soon after. Black Friday sits just around the corner. For buyers waiting on the sidelines, these announcements will be the deciding factor. Do they buy Sony? Do they switch to Canon or Nikon? Or do they wait for discounts on older models? Every decision will ripple through the market. This is why so many people are glued to the rumors and leaks. After months of silence, every new piece of information feels critical. The delay has built up expectations, and now Sony must deliver. Anything less than a clear step forward will be seen as a failure. So, as we look toward the announcement, the story of the Sony A75 is not just about specs. It is about trust. It is about whether Sony can still inspire confidence in creators. It is about whether they can show leadership in a market they once dominated. And it is about whether the long wait will end in excitement or in disappointment.